What is going on, guys? I'm the alternate, and welcome to episode 5 of Let's Play Roller Coaster Tycoon 3. Now, I didn't give myself hardly any time for an intro here, but in this episode, we are building a Gravity Group family coaster, and you can see, the sort of the little area I'm trying to build it in. So, at first, when I tried this, I wanted to have at least a full drop, and to get the height to do that and still, try to be able to build and do anything after, I realized, I didn't leave enough space. So in the previous episode, we built the junior or kiddie coaster you see right behind it, and this whole section you see here that's, been sort of mapped off with the pathing is our kiddie section. So if you want to see that coaster being built, you can check out the previous video from the series. I also want to welcome, anybody new. I know these videos, they don't get the most views on my channel, but if you're new to this, we're doing a whole series here where we build a whole park, and kiddie section is just a small section of it. So you can see me trying to get the drop the way I want it, and I still don't have the right height. So let me turn on my height marker, see if I can do a little bit better. That's about as good as I'm gonna get. So what's the first thing these, like Kentucky Flyer does, we're going to put a nice little airtime hill. But for this turn, I didn't want it to go over the path like the kiddie coaster. I wanted it to go, more next to it so we didn't have to worry about any issues in the future. So I decided to just do a little something like that. And then let's do, another little airtime hill. So I'm not going to go and use the rest of the space that you can see me not using to the left of that turnaround. Because, I can still place a couple other rides there. And also I can place a path, because you're going to see there's still some space in the middle of this kiddie section that I'm not sure what I'm going to use for yet. So I can, be creative about where I place the paths. I can also place an entry one that goes underneath the wooden coaster lift hill that I think would be pretty cool. So now I'm trying to figure out how to connect it. And as you can see, I ended up coming up right next to that first drop, which means I'd have to do like 2 S-bends to try to get to the brake run, which that was not going to work. But now I only have to do 1. So I'm just going to do a nice, slow big hill there. Oh, I probably could have done 2 smaller hills instead of that one, but then we're going to do another little hill here. I'm not going to go down as far so I can, keep the same height. And then this is a really, really small brake run, but when you see, the POV of this ride and you see looking at the lift hill, it's not very tall. And I was able to figure out how to get these paths to work. When I was sitting here looking at that for a second, because I was like, this might be a nightmare, actually. There's only 1 space between the station and where I need to place the paths. So this is a really, really, really quick, sort of Gravity Group's family wooden coaster. It does have a few good pops of airtime, though. This would be definitely a quality ride for any park. I was thinking about, maybe doing this or like a Wilderness Express that's at Carol, or not Wilderness Express. What is that ride called now? It used to be called the Fairly Odd Parents ride at Kings Island. I think it might be Woodstock Express, but those sort of kiddie rides, the out and back ones that are like, I don't know how to describe it, maybe like a horseshoe shape. I was thinking about maybe doing one of those, but I decided to just try to do something a little bit more modern. And yeah, I was about to say that blue, and that did not look good on a wood coaster. So let me hurry up and change that. And so here is our completed coasters, and you're going to see me doing a lot of test runs because I really wanted to make sure that it goes to that block section smoothly. So first thing you just saw, it literally smacked into the block run. I think I had low friction on for that test run and ended up turning it off so that I could test it again. And I like how it runs better without the low friction for once. I always end up having to put it on. But you see me adjusting the sensitivity of these brakes, just trying to make sure that it's about as smooth as I can get it, like as smooth as it to go in there. And that one looked pretty good, but I'm still going to lower it a little bit more because even as it goes into that block brake, I don't want them to smack into anything or have a harsh stop. So you see me just readjusting them again, even adjusting that block brake there to make sure that does a little bit of part of the slowing. And I've worked with this this game a lot, but I'm not too sure brakes versus block brake. I know the block brakes have a transport in them and the brakes don't. Like the block brakes, they can move a train forward, but the brakes, they'll stop it. But on some rides, you'll see that I have, a full block brake lift hill. On some of them, you'll see I have brakes and a block brake. But here's the POV, so I'm going to be quiet and enjoy the ride. Alright, so I do and I don't like how that came out at the same time. On one hand, I like the airtime that's at, the beginning, and I don't mind the floater towards the end, and I like how we sort of fit it in that little space, but on the other end, I wish we could have made it a little bit longer and maybe had a little bit more space and maybe given it a little more airtime and maybe had to go a little bit faster. I don't know. I'm still really happy, though, with where we put it. It is pretty short, but for the second half of this episode, we are going to do something that I might have done in Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, but I know I have not done it in this game, and that is build an antique cars ride. Now, I'm trying to have an entrance and an exit because I know that the loading procedures on this, will make it have a really, really long line. So I want to have two stations, one there, and then the exit is that one that's facing the path that's not, parallel to the food court. So I decided to just have it curve around, and I'm going to put it adjacent to this lift hill. All the enthusiasts are going to be taking pictures of the two arrow lift hills next to them. Oh, actually one. Well, one's supposed to be a Morgan. So then this is going to be a really, really short antique cars. They're never really, too long of rides. I probably maybe could have used this layout a little bit more. But I'm going to end up covering that part that's by the food court, and then I'm just going to have it loop back around. I might end up covering both parts that are by the food court. So I did end up making the station not close enough to the path to be able to give a substantially, a decent queue line. And then I accidentally put the exit there. So it took me forever how to figure out. Well, actually, I didn't figure out how to remove it. So I ended up just going back into the ride and deleting that station piece and just replacing it. So there. So the exit's already connected and the queue piece isn't that hard to connect. So I'm just sitting here loading the trains, and I do think I end up having a few less trains on this because I want, by the time the first one gets back to the exit platform, I want them to be able to, unload immediately. I don't want them to have to wait outside of the station or anything. So we do just want to keep people flowing through this. I did end up changing this color to something more wooden looking because I didn't think the red matched, right over it. Plus it's right next to the red coaster, so I didn't think that would look good. So I changed it to something more simple like this. And then I'm not happy about the height that I decided to place those at because it took me forever to figure out which walls I needed. So I tried to do the two main pieces, try to do something like that, but then it did not work. So there's that small gap there when I try to build it that way, and the 2/3 piece doesn't help me much there. So I decided to try the 2/3 piece first and then stack two on top, and that still didn't work. So finally I think I just have one 2/3 piece and then two full blocks that end up fitting. And I hate that small inch of space that you can place where the block will go, either direction, like that inch towards the direction. Like you can see how I fixed it there. I hate that because it doesn't look flush with the other objects. So I was glad that I was able to fix that, without being too close to the actual track. That was my worry too. I was like, maybe we need to have it facing the outside way. Oh, I end up doing two 2/3 and one full block, and that ends up working. So there's half of it. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side and just use one more full block. So I don't know if I almost said if I need to place torches in here. We're not playing Minecraft, but if I'll end up putting a light in there because maybe it'll end up being dark or something like that. But other than that little tunnel, I want to place a bunch of trees around here because, these antique cars rides are always in the really nice settings. Like, even if it's just not trees, there's always coasters around them, and there's tunnels. And so I just really wanted to make sure that I made it look nice. So I placed a few big trees, and then I decided I wanted to place a lot of small trees close to it. So I decided to try to line those up on either side, just placing those, all around the ride, just to try to make it look nice. Even though it's got the coaster around it in that tunnel, I still want it to look nice. And I might end up, like I said, building another tunnel for that part before it goes to the station because I don't know if I like how it looks just right there with the food court. But I decided to, like I said, make it a few less cars because as soon as one goes out, I want the other one to be able to come back in. So I'm going to be quiet and enjoy the POV of our antique cars. I know this is just like a flat ride POV, but it actually gives some really, really cool views of what we've built thus far. that is going to do it for our antique cars, right? You do see me lower the speed so it goes through it a little bit slower, and that'll do it for this episode. I will see you guys in the next Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 Platinum Let's Play.